Everyone, my name is Fidelia. Welcome to my presentation today. I'm a senior scientist at BY Quantitative Medicine, and with me here today is Professor Benjamin Young. He's our founder, chairman, and chief scientist. So any questions that you have for us, he'll answer your questions happily. So to begin, I would like to ask everyone a question. What is power to you? Is it the ability to control and influence others? Or is it something else? Perhaps. But power for cancer patient is something very simple. Power is the ability to be able to choose their therapy, to be able to have the option to choose what they can be treated with. That is the power. Choice is power. And that is our company's motto. So before I let you know how we achieve that, I want to give you a little brief history about our company's background. So our company was founded in 2018 by Professor Benjamin Young. He did his PhD at Baylor College of Medicine under the guidance of Professor Harris Bush. And he got his postdoctoral fellowship in the School of Medicine of Stanford University under Professor Arthur Kornberg, who was a Nobel laureate in 1959. Both of these professors spent their lives studying the nucleus, and with Professor Harris Bush believing that the nucleolus is the origin of cancer. And it was under these mentorship that Professor Young spent his lifelong passion in researching NPM1, which is a very important protein in the cell. So, if you take a look to the left, I don't think you can see it, but if you take a look to your left, that's a human cell. Our human cell is compartmentalized into the nucleolus in the very middle, the nucleus, and the cytoplasm. So our DNA, our genetic material, can be found in the nucleus, which is very important, right? That makes our cell behave the way it does. And our cells are like mini factories, you can think of it. They function very intricately to properly function. And any disruption will cause the cell to die. But cancer cells, they can bypass this mechanism. Cancer cells, they are not controlled by growth stop factors. They grow uncontrollably, and they can proliferate and multiply, and they become more aggressive. So if you take a look on our right, in 2021, Hong Kong Cancer Registry, the top 5 most prevalent cancer in both sexes are lung, colorectal, breast, prostate, and liver cancer. And just so happenly that NPM1 have a lot of research in these cancers. So research suggests that any tip of the balance, any tip of the equilibrium in NPM1 expression will lead the cell to become cancerous. There are suggestions that the cell become chemotherapy resistant, the cell will grow uncontrollably, the cell will proliferate, the cell will even move from one region to another region, which is called metastasis, and it can even regulate cancer cells from immune system escaping. They'll make sure that the immune system cannot detect them, so they can bypass that. And how does NPM1 do that? Because NPM1 is very important in normal cell function. And you can see at the top, these are all very important functions that are in regulating pathways in cell growth, proliferation, and survival. And it's very important in genomic stability too. So anything that causes NPM1 to overexpress in our cell can lead to oncogenesis, into cancer development. So, what we do at BYQM is to identify specific gene-gene interactions unique to cancer cells, right? If you take a look on the left, from a normal cell, there are, some kind of interaction with NPM1, but when the cancer cell, or when the cell becomes from normal to cancer cells, you can see that there are more connections established. And we are not only looking in cell line, we are also looking in clinical sample, which is truest to what reflects from our body. So we try to identify these interactions so that we can find the right targeted therapy to target these interactions in cancer cells. these are the therapies that are very important to cancer patients. So what we offer at BYQM, we leverage machine learning and big data analytics in identifying the interactions between NPM1 and all 20,000 genes using RNA expression so that we can identify the disease pathway and to find the right appropriate treatment for the cancer patient, and to also evaluate the risk of resistance and the latest clinical trial information that is appropriate for the patient. So our first product is in high-grade serous ovarian cancer. And now why is that? If you take a look at the bar graph, this is a mortality to incidence ratio conducted by Global Can in 2022. It is a crude indicator of success. If you take a look on the left, pancreatic cancer actually has the worst treatment success, with ovarian cancer with the star in the top 10. So about 70% of ovarian cancer patients who will respond to platinum-based therapy initially. However, out of these 70% of patients, 80% will eventually relapse. So what happens when they relapse from their current standard treatment? Well, there are other targeted therapies available in protocol, yes, that's great, but these patients also relapse as well. What about immunotherapy? Yes, but immunotherapy is not for everyone. And then there are biomarker tests like DNA mutation, I'm sure you've heard of. These DNA mutation tests, they identify if you have a mutation, you're positive, you have more therapy. That's great. But what if you don't have any results? If you have negative results coming back, does that mean it's the end for the patient? No. If anyone tells you that's the end, you have no more drug options, you can tell them you're just not looking at the right place. Because at BYQM, we look at 20,000 genes interaction, we look at RNA expression, and these interactions can tell us exactly what disease pathway is happening, what is going on, so that we can find the right therapy. So, like I said, pathway that leads to uncontrollable growth, we can find the right therapy to block that, so that the cells can stop growing. There are other pathways that they're very different in every patient, and we can also prioritize different pathways, making it very personalized. So I want you to go home today, tell your friends, tell your family, be excited, because right now we're driving this momentum forward. We are collaborating with oncologists, with hospitals, in pushing our product out. And we are also going to move on to other cancers, including lung and colorectal cancers and the cancers that I mentioned before, and also other diseases like Alzheimer's and rheumatoid arthritis. So, if you're interested in our product or collaborating with us, you can visit us at our booth at 3ED07. We can offer personalized treatment options at the right time, optimizing the chances of success for each individual patient. Thank you.
Thank you for your insightful sharing. Please be seated.